Hey everybody, it's Bust. We're kicking off Expedition Trial number 313. And you know what I'm looking to do in this one, if you caught our stream or our previous video, we're kind of taking a peek at three faction decks. From a game theory standpoint, they should be much better than I'm giving them credit for. Like if we think back to a game like Magic or a game like Eternal, where you're playing the resource system kind of within your deck, there's a real cost to playing multiple colors or factions or whatever your particular game calls the resource system, and that you have to have like specific cards to play your additional specific cards, right? And so if we're playing three factions in Magic or three colors in Magic, maybe we have like two black removal spells, then we have to draw our swamps to be able to play those two spells. Same thing applies in Eternal. A lot of games just don't have resource systems like that. They have games like Hearthstone and like Runeterra where it's just mana, where we should, realistically just play as many factions as we can. That requirement isn't there for us to play those additional cards, and so, if each faction kind of evenly has 10% of the best cards, then we're kind of missing out on the opportunity to see those best cards each time. Uh, by not branching out into additional factions. And so it's one of those things. I typically run out here and just try to draft around synergies. I think that tends to be much better. We'll see if any of these champions really put us in that place where it's more relevant. I was this is like the second time I've started this video. It was more apparent in the previous chat that I did before this video started, and where we had the choices of Fiora, we had the choice of a Kindred, or the choice of a Gangplank. And so, with the idea behind this concept with the Fiora was, you're trying to stack barriers, and barriers really only exist in Demacia. Of course, you can find them in Ionia. There's the one barrier, but if you're saying like, hey, I want to maximize Prismatic Barrier and Riposte and Bright Steel Protector, then you want as many Demacia packs showing up every pick of the draft as you can. And so if we branch out into three factions and we're seeing like one Demacia, one Freylord, and one Shurima pack, then we only have a 1 in 3 chance of having a pack that can contain a barrier in it. And so same thing kind of applied to Kindred. If we're really looking to build these decks that have a access to Hapless Aristocrats, Cursed Keepers, and Fading Icons, then we want to see Shadow Isles every pick of the draft. And if we branch out into three factions, we're really reducing our chances of seeing that. And so, trying to kind of like pick and choose specific spots to where drafting three factions seems to make sense, and not just doing it for the sake of doing it. And so, with these, I think we could probably just dive in on the Shadows and Dust Zed. I have kind of like considered it in the past as being able to play Shurima, being able to play Shadow Isles, be able to play Zed, and really take advantage of like the sparring student style card pools. And I think we can probably take advantage of this here. My problem with these other packs, with Diana, you specifically want to be in Shadow Isles and pursuing Nightfall. There's no other factions that have Nightfall in it. I don't know what we would really want to be adding from other factions. I guess we could look towards like Noxus for cheap early game aggressive units or something, but I don't see a lot of value of the other factions. And then with this Thresh here, this is just like, what up? I got a Grand Plaza, and how am I supposed to do something with that? Doesn't really fit on theme, but I think we can, kind of like thematically get some usage out of the Zed, and so that's the one I want to pursue here. I do want to go ahead and pull it up on the site. If you're not familiar with it, it's ftpbus.com. This is the remnants of our previous trial, where I just cut it off after pick 6 because we were only in two factions, but it was like a Gangplank misfortune, and it was just like readily apparent that it did not want to be a 3-faction deck, and so I was just kind of just letting that one go. But here, nonetheless, we're going to be on the Expedition Helper section of ftpbus.com. We're just going to make our way down to the drop-down box, and then make our way down to Zed. And so, this Shadows and Dust deck, this is what I tend to call a sparring student deck. We're really looking to take advantage of sparring students and Green Glade duos by getting multiple units on the board in the same turn. And so, Zed generates a unit. You can use things like Haunted Relic to put a bunch of units on the board. The idea behind the Shurima side of this is putting Sand Soldiers on the board, but at the end of the day, we're really just looking for a way to flood the board with a bunch of units to get a big boost to our sparring students and our Green Glade duos. And so, with that in mind, we'll see what we can get out of these other factions. this Nopify Twin Discipline start isn't quite what we're looking to do, but we'll see how this leads out here. I'm just going to kind of keep in the back of our minds that we either try to draft towards sparring students or draft towards elusives, but most generally, I like to see this be a sparring student style deck. And okay, well, I mean, if we're really going to force ourselves into multiple factions and try to draft towards sparring students, I think this Elise is a pretty reasonable choice here. She can attack and generate a unit exactly like Zed can. The Overgrown Snapvine can have a lot of combos where, say, we wanted to play a Haunted Relic and then turn it into a bunch of 5/3s, so it has some good early usage and some good late usage. And then Stygian Onlooker is just a pretty reasonable aggressive unit. And so I can't think of any of the other Elise cards that are super exciting. Like, I know we can use Crawling Sensations to generate multiple units. We can use things like Brood Awakening to generate multiple units. And so that might be something that we're really looking to pursue here. And that, there is some kind of game closing abilities between things like Neverglade Collector and Phantom Prankster. I don't like Phantom Pranksters, but it's something that we can pull off here. Yeah, there's a little bit of interaction in Vile Feast and draining a unit and putting a unit on the board. So I think we could probably get something pretty reasonable going with this Elise here as well. And then, we'll see if we can't pick up a third faction. I don't really want to go out of my way to do it. But that's the thing we are actively trying to pursue here, and so maybe if a Shurima pack shows up or something, then we'll most certainly pursue that route. But I don't really want to be down here taking Ravenous Flockblade's Edge. This would kind of put us into the Spiders theme, but I think it's going to put us kind of far away from this kind of cohesive deck of getting advantage out of our sparring students. So I just want to take the Collector and the Soul Shepherd here. The Soul Shepherd also being useful in the sense if we piece together one of these kind of ephemerals decks, right? That's what you're trying to get out of Shurima. It's what you're trying to get out of the Shadow Isle side of Shadows and Dust. But with these, I'm not going to pass on these Neverglade Collectors. This is going to be our kind of ideal top end. And it's, it's coming out of Slayers, so maybe we'll see a Shurima pack show up before we're all said and done here. Yeah, see lots of Slayers showing up. It doesn't seem like it wants to show us Shurima, but we're looking to build towards sparring students, and so going to take this while we're given the opportunity. This is, a clear reason as to why I don't like, trying to pursue three factions. As if we're specifically looking to find sparring students in Shadows and Dust, then we want to get the maximum number of opportunities to see those cards. So if we could see Shadows and Dust and Discipline show up every single pack, that's, how we're going to get that maximum opportunity to see that. And so that's, ultimately my problem in the multi-faction style decks. But I am pretty happy with both of these cards. Dawn and Dusk is a fantastic closer in this style of deck, whether or not you're copying a Green Glade Duo is your kind of typical one, or something like a Neverglade Collector. This is a very common way to just come in and close out all of the games. Okay, and so, in the normal world of FTP bust related things, I would just come in and take this Blighted Caretaker Twin Disciplines. This just kind of does everything that the deck is looking to do, right? This puts multiple units on the board. It makes ephemerals, so the ephemerals can get boosted by Soul Shepherd. These Caretaker tokens can bring back Shark Chariots, but three factions is what we're doing today, and so I'm just going to come down and take the Sand Spinner and the Ricochet, just to make sure that we get these Shurima cards going in our deck here. It looks like it's trying to show us Slayers cards instead of Ascension cards, which makes sense, but we'll still see how this plays out. And okay, we got a sparring student. We're not going to pass on those. Let's see. As far as these go, this is kind of interesting because in this style of deck, I typically don't like playing a lot of removal spells. It's very tough to find a good spot to play them because we're typically just out here trying to make open attacks. And so Crumble, it should be tough for us to find removal, so I'm kind of leery on passing this, but the Scribe of Sorrows is just so bad here, and we're getting some pretty high-quality 2-drops. So I'm going to go ahead and add the 2s to our cards. Okay. This is a pretty weak set. I don't really want anything to do with Spectral Riders. This card's pretty bad. I don't really want the Nopify that we have either. And so I think we're kind of stuck just taking the Weight of Judgment and Spirit Leech. It's an argument to be taking Frenzied Skitterer, I guess. But but we don't have too much of a spiders theme going on, and I would like to pick up a, removal spell or two. So the Weight of Judgment will have to be okay. Okay, and here we go. This will finish out our top end with this third Neverglade Collector. Happy enough to go ahead and add these. Or we could just pick up a fourth one if we wanted. But no, we'll take the Blighted Caretaker here. This is too on theme with what we're doing. We even have, multiple Soul Shepherds to make these saplings come into play a little bit bigger. So nice little combos we have access to there. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of Shadow Apprentice. There's some specific decks where I think this is okay. Like if we're trying to get plunders or if we're just all in on elusives, then fine, whatever. But a 1/1 elusive for 1 isn't enough unless you have like additional combos like plunders. So Frenzied Skitter or Stygian Onlooker are going to have to be our team here. Okay, and then just like how many Neverglade Collectors are we actually going to take? Like, I don't really like playing more than 3 because these aren't that great in multiples. It's okay in the sense that, like, you always want to have one on the board and your opponent's really going to be gunning for them. But that's just, that it's just not something that you want to have like 2, and drawing like 3 and 4 copies of it is pretty awkward. But the rest of these cards are not very good. I'm just mainly interested in the fading icon here. So, welcome to the team. And all right, we got our first Shark Chariot. So I think that's who we're looking to pursue here. Just it plays fantastically with the sparring student theme. Like, I know we only have 2 sparring students, but hopefully we can trade our way into more sparring students and into more Greenglade duos as we pick up Zed throughout the trial. So welcome to the Team Shark Chariot. And then our last choice, I'm kind of okay with trading away Ricochet since it's pretty bad here, but I'm just going to take the Black Spear just to make sure that we have another removal spell. We're kind of light on removal, and so happy enough to pick these up. And okay, almost forgot. Whenever I've been streaming on Twitch, I haven't been going and turning cards premium. I wanted to save that for our regular kind of YouTube content, and so can't forget to go and turn something premium. Let's go and see if any of these units are ready to be added. I was like, you really not add 3 factions? But man, is there any of these commons that are actually in our deck that aren't premium? I might have to switch it over to the spells. I know we're getting to the point where we're going to have to add spells to our deck. So yeah, we can get the Stirred Spirits. That's one. Is there anything else in here? I'd say we're getting pretty close to everything. We're getting down to the into the less powerful section of cards that that we're going and turning premium. But welcome to the Team Stirred Spirits. I'm not real sure what's going on here. It looks like he's just got some kind of bucket on his head. Looks like a panda with a bucket on its head. Oh, fuck if I know. Like I've never been one to know what's actually happening with these card pictures. But no, I think this might have turned out okay. It was kind of forced jumping into the third faction. I wasn't like super excited with how we did it here. We were really looking for some of the Sand Soldiers cards to show up to take advantage of with these sparring student style cards. You really kind of just wanted to be in a Zir pack, but it was a pretty like low cost to jump in, and we did get to come in and pick up some removal, which is fairly non-existent in these card pools. So here, we want some units. We don't want all late game here. So let's see if we can't find some early game plays. We cannot. Maybe we'll just find a Zed. Zed makes up for a lot of bad early games. It's to Victor Soraka. Okay. That's not ideal. Okay. So not 2 units you see usually playing together. A Star Shepherd and a Ballistic Bot. I could see Ballistic Bot actually kind of reasonably working out in the sense that he's got a bit of a booty on him, and so he can survive some hits and get some of these healing themes going. But I fully intend on just playing Weight of Judgment on this Ballistic Bot. It's probably an activator in this style of deck. Looks like he's going to be playing a lot of the generated themes and building towards Victor more so than building towards the healing. So should be a reasonable target, and then we'll also have a good attack with our Stirred Spirits after this. Get Get in there. Okay. But, I mean, we do have the Bakai Sand Spinner here. He's ready for action and ready for a good open attack next turn. Victor and Soraka. Fantastic to see him just run out of Victor here.
Flesh is a weakness we must shed.
Oop. Okay, then the only thing with this attack is we're gonna want to make sure that we put our Sand Spinner on the left. We don't want it dying to our Stirred Spirits.
Fall to pieces.
Oop. Nice. I'm trying to think, it's like, did we even play a Ionia card there? We don't have very much Ionia in our deck whatsoever, but most of the Shadows and Dust cards must have came out of the Shadow Isle side when they were showing up. But we're about to stack up a bit more. Look at this. We got a Shark Chariot and a Zed. I am completely on board with all of this. I don't really like having multiple Dawn and Dusks, but you know, if the deck can try to be like, oh yeah, he is trying to play Shadows and Dust, maybe it'll try to give us access to more sparring students and Green Glade duos. Weird, just none of the Ionia showed up in that draft. Okay. So, not a bad little start. We won't get to attack until the 4th turn, but... Ooh, what up, Zed? You're so premium. So premium. But, no, this is a pretty nice looking curve here. I do want to start with the Onlooker, just as a means to having a unit to sacrifice to Blighted Caretaker here in the future. Let's go ahead and open. Very good chance if we play the Stirred Spirits, he's just going to follow up with a unit that shuts down our combat completely. Okay. And Shark Chariot. How do we go about this? It doesn't seem like it's quite going to be a board that we're just trying to get Zeds or getting Blighted Caretaker going on. And so I'm kind of tempted to just lay down the Shark Chariot here, especially if he's going to give us the block. Such premium. God, all our champions are premium. Feels good. Feeling very pay to win today. Crumple? Sure.
The order.
We got this backup Zed ready for action, and he doesn't really get to develop his board here. Oh, nice. So let's start with Elise. We want to get Zed down. Hopefully we can get a big open attack. Looks like that's exactly what we'll be able to do here. He's going to have to make the choice to either let our Zed flip or try to trade his Spirit Leech into Elise, both of which we're pretty okay with. That's going to get a Shark Chariot out here as well.
Hush now.
See, this is what the deck is supposed to be doing. If you want to imagine the Onlooker as being a sparring student, and it's getting, you know, the +3 attack from all of these units coming into play. Very powerful stuff. Ooh, we're just gonna ace this Mist Wraith as well. Good deal. Good deal. Then I can't, like, sure, 100% remember how these interactions work as far as the Overgrown Snapvine's concerned. I know you can run into these, like, weird spots to where you know, like your Shark Chariot comes down, but then it becomes an Overgrown Snapvine and then leaves combat. Like, I think that's how it works. It's been a while since I've kind of been forced to deal with that. But as far as this goes, this looks pretty good. We're going to get the Collector down. We're going to be lined up pretty well to just ace his board next turn. Like whatever he plays to kind of interact here, we can just, you know, force blocks and then get some drains out of the Collector. Oh, it's slightly on the scary side. I think we're still like reasonably safe, but it's kind of scary seeing that happen.
Everyone's a garden.
Hopefully he doesn't have a means to kill our Neverglade Collector. Oh, that's one short. So what are we looking at here? If we say play Bakai Sandspinner after the fact, I think this is okay. All right, I almost tried to ace that thing, and it just didn't realize I had 5 health. Whatever the Undying. I think we'll be fine here. We still have the Weight of Judgment Black Spear package in our hand. Minus all of our units. 4, 7, 8. 4, 8. Alright. We're going to be a little short. 4, 8. Yep. That is unfortunate. Probably need to just be clearing this stuff off of the board.
They grow up so fast.
4, 5. This isn't lethal, right? I'm pretty sure. Is it? Oh, we're getting a Shark Chariot back. Okay. Okay, I completely forgot about the Shark Chariot. I'm glad I checked the Oracle's Eye. I completely would have missed that. Thanks, Riot. Thanks for that feature. Okay. Nice. All right, here's our opportunity to get rid of more Shurima cards. What do we still have? The Bakai Sandspinner and the Weight of Judgment? All right, we're going to pick up the Vengeance here. It's just, I was kind of interested in Ricochet just in the sense that it can kind of function like a bad Decimate and just help, you know, kind of close out these games because we tend to be like really aggressive and all in the early game. But the Vengeance is just too much more powerful. I really like to find one of those things that makes like, I don't like super like Emperor's Diaz in these style of decks, but if we could find that thing that makes the 5 attack ones, I'd be pretty on board with that. That B-ball guy. I bet this is LeBron James. It's on you to prove me wrong. So, here, you know, not a horrible start. I do prefer to have, you know, something a little bit cheaper as far as Blighted Caretaker is concerned, but against like this Teemo style deck, it might just be a little bit too important to hang on to these just to ensure that we have a way to interact with what our opponent's doing.
Flesh was weak, but look at me now.
There's nothing to fear.
Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and open.
Disengage.
Get the little unit out of this. Is that what we want? Because if I think this is actually, let's do this. Let's Shark Chariot. We'll play the Onlooker. If he wants to say like, oh, he can't Ignition. I was worried about him playing Ignition and having Ballistic Bot block our Elise. But that's just not a thing. Okay, okay. So good. Neither of these units can kill our Elise.
Hush now.
And then the big thing here is if he actually comes down and makes these blocks to prevent the damage, we can take down his ballistic bots with this Blighted Caretaker on our next attack. Got a lot of juice that we're about to start sending his way. You know, say he like taps out for, I guess he's not playing Victor, but say taps out for Victor or Vi or something. We have the Sand Spinner, and then on our turn we can do Caretaker Stirred Spirits. I'm on board. I'm on board. It's not the most exciting of targets, but let's see.
The soul wears away like grains of sand.
System upgrade.
Okay.
Join me if you
Gonna attack. This does not seem like good attacks.
can you improve perfection.
Okay, then the thing that could ultimately be awkward here is we have that shark chariot that we want attacking. Elise is going to be generating a unit, and so we're gonna have to order our units in the correct way to, we want the spiderling the least, I think. Maybe not. I mean, if we have these spirit leeches out here, we'd like to have a unit to sacrifice. Although he's, kind of incentivized to be blocking with the clump of wumps.
There you are.
Let's see what he adds here.
Can you improve perfection.
This is either just going to be like a Mystic Shot or a Make It Rain. I don't think we super care about either of those. So let's take down his good units here. You can hook this. Shark Chariot's coming in. We can put this thing on, like, we can do it like this. If we want the Shark Chariot and just leave Elise behind. Can we ever just get the lethal? Like, getting the lethal seems kind of scary. No, he can just block our Bakai Sand Spinner. Okay. I think this is good.
Safety first.
Okay.
My saplings.
It's okay, but I mean, this is why I was kind of wanting the spiderling, right? So we just have something to sacrifice to a spirit leech. I'm not like opposed to sacrificing Elise to one, but see how things play out here. Fantastic Dawn and Dusk target in the Frenzied Skitterer. Kind of dangerous against a Piltover deck, since if he just pops our Skitterer with a any removal spell, we just took a humongous investment for no return, but should be enough to close out the game here if it's successful. We don't have anything else going on in our hand anyways, so cross your fingers, team. Let's see let's see if this is successful. Okay, and this attack will also bring out a Shark Chariot.
Charged up and ready to go.
So if he's just going to block 3, whatever our big 3 are, we're getting for 4, 7, 8 will be one short, but this Fortune Croaker has to block a Shark Chariot, right? So he'd only be blocking 5 and a 4 here. And we get to hit for 4, 8, 9. Okay.
Skitter out from the darkness.
Right, so the Fortune Croaker has to come down here. These 2 bigs block 2 bigs down here, and we hit for 9. Boop. Got him. Sorry, LeBron. Okay, it feels good winning these games without Zed. I know we got Zed in one game, but we've won 3 and only drawn Zed in 1. Always feels nice when that tier 1 champion isn't showing up and you're still winning games. Ooh, here's the juice. Here's the sauce right here. Just picking up all the Green Glade duos. Nice. Just exactly what this deck is looking for. Okay. Who do we get now? Feeling Zeddy. Getting lots of Zeds just going to show up. turn 3, remainder of the trial. On board. Okay. The old Sharma Allegiance. Oh, we just gotta get some cheaper stuff. I don't like keeping Frenzied Skitterers, but this is so bad for us if we don't have a play on turn 1, 2, or 3. So I think we need to go ahead and hang on to that. Love to get rid of these Spirit Leeches, though. This is not the deck for Spirit Leech. Maybe we'll get to trade these for some Green Glade duos here in the future. Talia card back. I gotta switch to the Cupcake card back. I've been meaning to do that. I don't know what we're doing after this game. We're switching card backs. It's highly important. Almost as important as getting your premium cards. So, we'll see what we can do.
We can always rely on you to keep us safe.
Pretty on board with just blocking here if he wants to spread the damages out. This kind of gets us set up to where we're at least just getting a 1-for-1 trade into this thing once we add Sparring Student to the board. Oh.
I can learn from watching you.
Give them something to remember me.
Okay, let's just bank. Shuts down pretty much everything that we're doing.
Sun's beneath me and winds behind me.
I'm okay with the Spirit Leech getting hit by a... Are we cool with that? If, say, the 2/1 gets to take down our Spirit Leech? Be real, that's not ideal. And is a little awkward. Let's get our Skitter going.
Too slow, stupid.
Like, I don't really want to spend the weight of judgment on this this esteemed Hierophant, but like the more I think about it, I think it's okay. The thing with this is like Sherma just doesn't have very many good expensive units, right? They have
Gonna catch the sky.
the 6/4 thing that gets the Spell Shield and Overwhelm is the only like big boy that we would want to be hitting with Weight of Judgment, and he has Spell Shield. Otherwise, it's just epics. Like they have like Raz, or there's some kind of like predict cards out of the Talia pool, but they don't live over here in the they don't live in the pool with Azir. So I think it's okay to just let that go. This kind of sucks for us, but as long as he doesn't play something that just like completely shuts down these units, I'll call it a win. I feel like there's a very slim chance that we ever get to attack this turn, though. Yeah, let's let this go. But we do at least have some build up here with the Spirit Leech Black Spear.
Observe the price of ambition.
Probably just done with these Sparring Students at this point. There's a world where we might get some kind of ephemeral values out of these Soul Shepherds, as you can see when we pick up Zed Shark Chariot.
It can be undone.
Okay.
Only human.
Alright, maybe we'll get to do something cool with these now. Don't feel like ultra confident that we're gonna get an attack out of the Zed. Maybe we should have just banked and waited a turn, but that's a huge pickup in the Blighted Caretaker. We can do lots of cool things now. I'm really glad that we have this Soul Shepherd on board. These saplings are going to be huge. So our big worry here would be a we have to kill off the Spirit Leech here. The big thing I was worried about here was like the Spirit Fire. It doesn't appear to be a thing that he has. But yeah, we're looking pretty good now. Weight of Judgment is a possibility, but our board is still fantastic compared to what it just was.
The grove follows.
Do not fear death.
You can't even get a trade in on this thing. Bring it in.
It's not safe.
Humbled.
Seems okay.
I walk through the ages.
This is gonna go ahead and do this. Let's just go ahead and get rid of this thing. Do not approve Nasus coming down and trying to get spell shields and stuff. Probably just has to pass here, right? Nope.
I don't want to meet whatever woke you up.
Alright, well hopefully he's not putting more Nasuses right on the top of his deck. that would be less than ideal.
The cycle
Yep.
begins anew.
We can at least like stop a lot. We can stop him from flipping for a bit with this Glimpse Beyond.
By my side.
So I think this is fine. We need to get the Neverglade Collector going next turn. And then we can start making good plays again. That draws Zir. Okay. So we should be able to get the Collector on the board. I assume he's going to play as a Zir before he attacks.
What you want, without mercy.
See what we see, soldier.
Where do you draw another Nasus? Pick up a Nasus strike? Ugh, I was really counting on that being a Zir. Okay.
I know what.
Do not have answers to this Nasus anymore. We played our one removal spell. That's all you get is one. So,
I turn it like so.
Always forward.
It will all
okay,
be
so that's
over
an easy
soon.
one. You can always just take this Nasus hit as well. Well, he's gonna get a Slay, so he's gonna flip. You know. What a 7. Okay. There's the key to us, to us doing something here. And so, how much of this can we do next turn? Because we want to play both the Green Glade Duo and the Zed. And then we want to copy the Green Glade Duo. So this is going to be 9-11. Okay, so we can do that. Let's just wait a turn.
Hang on, Buzzball.
Hey,
Add the Duo. We'll go ahead and add Zed afterwards. Oh, perfect. Okay, I think we're lethal here. I haven't quite done the mathematics on this one, but
pledge yourself to the shadows.
do this, and then we can also add an Onlooker
The shadows.
to give all of these another boost. We can get an additional 2 damage out of Stirred Spirits, and then the Zed attack will also add in an additional 3 damage. Yeah, this is lethal without even doing anything else.
Let's move.
We aren't missing anything, are we? Before we get all too clever with this. Oh, we had a Shark Chariot I forgot about as well. Nice. That's what the deck does, my friends. Nice, nice.
None escape their shadow.
Let's see. What would we like to pick? Just more opportunities to get rid of Bakai Sand Spinners. I don't think we can make any of these. Well, we should probably. This is tough. I've been pretty happy with the Sand Spinner in this deck. We don't have a whole lot of means for interaction. You know, it's really just the one Caretaker, the Black Spear. So we probably need to hang on to our Sand Spinner just as another way to interact. You know, it's nice to be able to give Zed elusive, but it's typically not a requirement. And then I can't trade out Fading Icons because we have like 3 Glimpse Beyonds and 2 Spirit Leeches, and so we need to have just like something to sacrifice. And then I'd rather have the Spirit Leech than the Glimpse Beyond here, so we can skip over this one. This deck still has some problems, but so I was hoping we'd get a little bit better trades once we picked up that 3rd Zed and picked up the 2 Green Glade duos. And so it was at least like, oh, you're trying to play elusives, or it was like, oh, you're trying to play Zed, and not just being like, oh, well, here's some more kill your own units themes. It's all right. We're still in a reasonable spot. It's supposed to be like, here's 4 Shark Chariots. That's where the fun is. All right. An opponent has been found. Hey, it's Kindred. The old Slayers, huh? Okay, well, I think it's reasonable to start with these. The Fading Icon, Blighted Caretaker work well together. Oh, and the Sparring Student just right on time.
Check out these moves. Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg. I forgot about it. This other random video on Reddit from Mortal Kombat. One of the big strategies in Mortal Kombat was just doing like the leg sweep over and over again, and they apparently incorporated that into the new movie. Like, oh, childhood memories. That was one of the things. Mortal Kombat was, there was a lot of worry when I was a child about the extreme violence in Mortal Kombat and whether or not children should have access to it. And as they always say with these things, we always just thought it was super cool that you know, the adults freaking out about it was what made it kind of special and exciting. But here with this turn, like, what do we really want to get out of this? Like, if we want to, say, play Blighted Caretaker and he just passes, this leaves us in a spot to where this is going to be a 4, 7, 8, 9. We'd hit for like 11, and then we can try to just kill with duos and stuff. I dig it. I'm on board with this. I was trying to think if I wanted to play it like a little bit slower and go for a Green Glade duo play, but I think this leaves him in a spot to where he just like has to add a unit to the board, and it's not going to be a very good one. Even if he adds like a Blighted Caretaker here, that's not like fantastic for us, but it really keeps his deck from doing what it's trying to do. So hopefully leave us in a positive spot here. I think if he had it, he would have snapped it off. So I think this is very good for us. Okay.
Left foot, left foot. I must be known.
We're getting them close. Like, a Blighted Caretaker would still be extremely good here, but we're getting much closer to lethal. He just doesn't have it. Let's start with this 3rd Spirit. We're never blocking with a Green Glade duo, but we'll block, you know, a Spiderling with this. This would be a lot cooler if he was at 8. But, you know, you can't have it all. Can't have it all.
Everything's better with company.
Says you.
This is something. Unspeakable horror? Sure. You got it, friend.
Hang on, Zern.
Alright, well, let's see if we can't start getting the chip damage in with the Neverglade Collector. Oh boy, are you going to attack? boy. Interesting.
They'll see me sooner or later.
But from every fallen, a new seed.
There's the Kindred. Alright, so that's going to shut down this turn. Hopefully we can use things like Glimpse Beyond to start denying him slays. Can't do it that way, but...
Its heart beats fast now.
It knows.
So now that we know, like, the slay's coming, does that change anything? Do we ever want to get attacks in here? I don't think these attacks seem particularly good. And the scary thing now is our smallest units are our Neverglade Collector. So if he gets a slay before we can play Soul Shepherd, then this will... this might even just get the hit even if we had Soul Shepherd. Nobody knows how the rules of this game actually work, and so... By all accounts, the Soul Shepherd should be the smallest unit, but I don't know whenever it decides to go left or right, if we're going to add a unit like this.
Tear them apart.
Okay.
I will light beyond life.
Contest the Baka. We have nothing to lose.
Little unfortunate. Not sure how we get out of this one now. Where he's in full-on Kindred mode, and there's not anything we could do about it. Would you rather do this? No, we'd probably rather have access to 8 mana next turn for the Sand Spinner and the Weighted Judgment. Hey, we're a Vengeance. I think we can actually save this for next turn. Let's see if he, spends some mana and tries to do some stuff. But I think we could likely get a Sand Spinner in onto Kindred.
What do they know, little lamb?
They will.
But all of our payoff has been removed. This is be extremely tough for us to come back from. Like, we have to have Greenglade Duos or Neverglade Collectors or something. These units just aren't good enough. Okay.
Humbled.
This round's on me.
Silence. Death comes.
Okay. If he wants to full clear our board, it's not gonna be good for us. But we have to do something here. This leaves us. I mean, he's hopefully done with Kindreds, but this leaves us in a spot to where, if he, we just don't have the units to sit on the board to park into his ability.
We enter an age of men and
About right.
gods. To dust.
And then I think we're just gonna have to be kind of all in on the Snap-on plan. I wanted to be able to play all of this, but I don't think that's the way it's gonna go. Now that we've drawn Neverglade Collector, do we feel any different about that? Huh. Our life is still pretty healthy. These drains are kind of far away. It's this awkward spot with the Collector. It would have been much better if we'd been able to get like 4 drains on the previous turn. Oh boy, another removal. Yep. Had all the answers.
Look what good comes of
Sure.
mortal greed.
That's at least positive for us if we're going to try and get an Everglade Collector going, having a little protection.
Embrace life.
That's about that's about standard. Yep.
Lovely day for a battle.
Fall to pieces. Disintegrate.
We do not linger.
To ruin.
Okay.
Never.
Can still do it though. I mean, this isn't the kind of deck where I'm like really excited about trying to play a Green Glade duo with Dawn and Dusk on it, but got some options. Hopefully we're to the part where we can just start to grind him out. We do need another unit for the Spirit Leech, but hopefully we'll be able to do something with that. Alright, this is his last champion. He's played 2 Kindreds and a Nasus, so he had to have just picked up his Azir. Oh, Zed.
Without a sound.
Can't attack. Can't even attack with the Zed if he's just going to play Azir, but he's just got it all, doesn't he? Okay.
Tell the people what you have seen today. You need not.
Right, well, we need quite a bit to go right here. Stuck with the Spirit Leech and nothing to sacrifice. Kind of painful. But an open isn't lethal. It might be our kind of saving grace here. If he just hits with these, it would be 10 total.
Fall to pieces.
Your emperor commands.
Why would you? I guess he did get up to 5. Okay,
Stand down.
sure. All right, how close is this one to being over? Sure. Sure. All right, that was about as fun as I expected out of a Kindred game. Love it. Love playing against Kindred. If you're if you're new to the recordings, that is 100% sarcasm. But I would love to get rid of some of these sacrifice cards. We don't have the means to support that with our deck. But I thought that went reasonably well. He had the answers to everything we did, and he drew 4 champions to R0 or R1. We drew our 1 champion late in the game, and so kind of is what it is. Okay, it's a little bit of Yasuo, a little bit of Zed, a little bit of Leona. Okay, that seems like a reasonable start. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the Stirred Spirits and just look for a another cheaper unit or something more on theme. Yeah, like Shark Chariot. I do need to kind of remember that I don't have this like massive pile of 1-drops. This deck typically has like a ton of you know, like 4 or 5 sparring students, and then a handful of things just like the Green Glade Lookout, whatever the Green Glade 1-cost sacrificey kind of thing is. But didn't quite land there today. And then we have to shut down some of this aggression. We're gonna start getting our engine going, but it's gonna take a bit of time. There's a non-zero chance that the Zed can't even attack here, but would we rather just wait? Like just play Shark Chariot and then wait on Zed for our next attack when we can have Twin Disciplines? I don't think so. I think it's okay, like if he just passes and then we pass. Alright, so that now leaves us in a spot to where we can like play Shark Chariot. We can have the Twin Disciplines for our next turn. If he has like Leona here, that's actually moderately decent for us in that, you know, she can't come down and stun our Zed next turn. I think this all seems fine. Do worry a touch about Yasuo or him having things like concussive palms, but I think we're getting built up to something nice here. So yeah, like depending on, it all of course depends on what he does, but I kind of envision if things go how we want, he plays some kind of unit we don't really care about, we get to add the Shark Chariot, we get to save up some Twin Disciplines mana, and then start in with Neverglade Collector next turn. Do not care whatsoever about this 4/4 he's just added, but we do need to wait on him before we drop a Chariot. Does this change anything? It's like now I'm kind of like leaning more towards wanting to like Shark Chariot Caretaker next turn. Try and take down a couple of these units. Just take... I think we need to take down the 4/4. We can actually take down the Crescent Guardian with our Caretaker. Fall goes according to plan, that is. So we're having to kind of like give up on the Zed plan a little bit, but I think that's okay. I think we're getting enough going on here.
They call us murderers as though it were an insult.
Save it for someone who's with
Okay, then a reasonable chance our Yasuo just gets killed here. Like if he has a Still Tempest, then kind of whatever. Not a lot we can do about it. We're kind of struggling with our Zed at this point anyways. Mm-hmm.
Into darkness.
Yeah, it doesn't look incredible, but it's okay. What up, Zed? Welcome right back to the party. Sure. I don't quite care about just taking this 5-hit. Just let this come through. I want to save this, have this like Twin Disciplines Zed ready to go for the next turn. We'll start gaining back big chunks of this help with our Neverglade Collector. And what a vengeance!
The shrouded path.
Unyielding light.
Silenced. Death comes.
Okay. Get those damages in.
Fall, heretic.
Maybe Yasuo blocks somewhere down here. Still get in for like 10 plus Caretaker damage. Do we just go for the lethal? This is quite the scary deck to go for lethal against. I have to assume that he's got another stun. Or he's got like a barrier lifesteal or something. It's incredibly tough to take down an Ionia deck here. Pretty close. The Caretakers are extremely good in this kind of spot. But stalling out the game and providing that way to get a win. What you got? The old Ibex? Okay. No concussive palms. Life's good. Wonder if he ever just plays like Zenith Blade on his Ibex and tries to open kill us next turn. There's some pretty good targets he could get from Gifts Beyond. I think he's probably just going to get like double stun or something, but I would think that the lifesteal one is probably pretty choice here.
shining gifts from the sky.
You also have to watch yourselves with Shadows and Dust against these Yasuo decks, since you can play the Shadows and Dust on your unit. They can stun the unit, and then they'll be your generated units will all be stunned. I think this is okay-ish. I mean, we're gonna Vengeance is Yasuo. We can block.
Spark and I will keep you safe.
That's unkind, but it's not the end of the world.
Radiant strikes.
One blade, one purpose.
Are we gonna actually have to end up blocking with our Zed?
I'll go
That's
first.
a little unfortunate. Like, we're doing this, doing this, doing this. Takes us to 4. Okay, perfect.
Clear my name.
And he's only got 1 card in hand, so might be willing to just go for a Dawn and Dusk play. Let's see if we can't at least, like, we want to try and draw out. I think it's probably like, no, we probably need to do it this way. So let's, or what if we just open? I think this is fine. Let's Dawn and Dusk. If he just drew a stun, that's fine. I think the big thing that we kind of need here is hopefully a way to get the Black Spear onto this Sunforger. See which of these cards he adds, or if he just pushes the concede button. Okay, I think we're fine now. Okay. Let's just go ahead and get this removed. There's nothing he can really do here. This attack was probably safe enough, but I'd like to go ahead and be a little bit more protective.
They will all learn to fear my order.
Whew. I'm okay. The sneezes are fun. Well, let's see. Beautiful. We can get rid of Glimpse Beyond for Sparring Student. On board with that. So that gets us down to 1 Glimpse, 2 Spirit Leeches. Hopefully the thing is finally gone. Hey, he's trying to draft Sparring Students. Nice little pickup. All right, on to the next one, the pre-final battle. Let's see what we can do. We haven't really done too much Zed stuff this trial. That feels kind of good, right? I usually just expect, Zed to hard carry like 3 games, 4 games. We've been getting there without having to do that, so always nice. Let's see. I don't think we ever want to get rid of the Shark Chariots. These seem kind of pivotal to what we're doing. And see if we can't find a little bit of a better curve. Need some more of these 1-drops. But passable hand. We can make this work. Ooh, okay.
Hey, Krabby.
That's my resting face.
What up, Krabby?
Let's
Get him.
go.
All right, for a Leona deck, he's not doing much Leona stuff. There's not been any daybreaks happening here. So I just have to get into combat with this if possible. We don't really want to have to deal with 2 combats with this thing. This is pretty bad if he has a combat trick, since we can't Twin Disciplines out of this. But it's not the end of the world if he does. Okay. Can do like some shenanigans around it with like Glimpse Beyonds and such, but not the most idealist of spots that we're in here.
The power of the immortal sun.
When does this actually hit?
The sun's splendor revealed.
Get in there, Shark. All right. Whenever I talk about, the need to have all these big, early game plays, sacrificable cards, because when you get weird shit like this with these Spirit Leeches, and we don't have anything that we actually want to get on board here, this is about to be extremely bad for us. We need to be able to trade this duo in for his Feyfolk. We can probably hit his Ravoon. If we're doing this, we're just stuck having to do that. Not like ultra worried about this Leona, since we tend to just be opening. And so let's at least cut off his daybreaks here. So if she's gonna flip, he's at least gonna have to put in some work to get the Leona to flip and not just be able to chain a bunch of Zenith Blades on our next turn. But don't get me wrong, this is 100% abysmal. I can't imagine we're like above a 2% favorite to win this game. I mean, what else are we gonna do? At least you can't block it, right? Okay.
A shield for allies, a sword for enemies.
Has to know shenanigans are here. If he has the combat trick to survive this Black Spear, we'll just quit this one. Like, I can't imagine we're ever in a spot to win this game as it is. If we fall that far behind, we'll just be done with it. Okay, go ahead and upper right this one. Where's the surrender button? Thank you. But yeah, just way too awkward. Like nothing our deck wants to do happened that game, and so not surprised to see us fall like that. So as far as these go, I don't think we really want any of these. I can get behind picking up a Rampaging Bakai, just as a means to have, kind of a bigger unit that can help close out these games. Another removal spell. I don't really want these Glimpse Beyonds anyways. I think this is okay. Gotta get this like, in large part, like the drafting thing thought that we were trying to be like a Slayers deck. You could see that when it was trying to like show us Kindred and all the Slayers packs were showing up, and we have, some of that overlap, but we just completely do not have the early game build around for that style of deck. And this is ultimately why, I've been shying away from 3-faction decks, and why I ultimately don't think they're that spectacular. Are exactly what we're running into this trial, where we have all these sacrifice cards, but we don't have the enablers for the early game. We really want this big stack of Green Glade duos and sparring students, but we didn't maximize our chances of actually seeing those. This is ultimately why I haven't been ultra impressed jumping into multiple factions. Okay, all right, we got our boy Stirred Spirits ready to do some Shark Chariot things here. Kind of curious if we should hang on to the Black Spear, since it's pretty easy to get something dead with get him dead good with the Shark Chariot, but I think we'd rather just look for additional units to put on the board. Not a bad start. I'm just gonna lead in with the Shark Chariot. And say it's very easy. Oh, we can't block here anyways. Oops. I thought that we were on the even attack tokens for some reason. Okay, Stirred Spirits it is. I think this is okay. It gets rid of, like, our activator as far as, putting ephemerals on the board for Shark Chariot, but I think this is still reasonable. Can we even Shark Chariot now? I think it's fine. Really need to find a Zed.
I'll become
Okay.
who I was always meant to be.
Gives up all of our board development when we don't have a Zed for these kind of plays. I think this can be okay. We can still take this down with the Twin Disciplines if we need to. Take the bait on whatever is happening here. That seems pretty positive for us.
I pull the strings.
I think we can try and pick on this Renekton. See how this plays out. We can try taking down with the Twin Disciplines. I have to imagine if he didn't have a combat trick last turn, then he probably just doesn't have one here. So I think we should be reasonably safe in that sense. And then I'm completely fine with just trading Elise with Rockhopper. I like to just go ahead and get that thing off the board.
Hush now.
But we'll give him the options here, right? If he wants to just kind of like let things go with this Renekton and not play into our Twin Disciplines, I'm reasonably okay with that. Sucks to get 2 for 1 here, but I think this is kind of what we have to build up to now that we can, have a unit to sacrifice to our Spirit Leech. Really helps out here. So it's tough for him to have a lot of like super relevant plays. Hopefully, I'm just really kind of hoping he just doesn't open into our spider. That would be pretty not good for us.
I'm ready to
Tarek? All right, let's get this Shark Chariot party going. They are back and ready for action. Uh-oh. That's never ideal. We have no answers to this. Take 9. I worry just ultimately about the amount of Tarek damage we'll be taking here. We could, like, you know, we're going to have to deal with this elusive over and over again. We probably just have to come in and block Tarek.
Just like we practiced.
Get around, you know, some of this with our Neverglade collectors, but ultimately still pretty scary here. We want to get the ephemerals going. The Green Glade duo is much less intimidating when he has the Sparklefly on the board. So let's start with the collector, just to kind of mask that we have an ephemeral here, and see what we could push forth with this. Just nothing. Just nothing is what we could push forth. I mean, we have attacks with these Shark Chariots, so that's not like completely no value attacks, but I was hoping to get a little bit more out of this. We probably can't. Can we come in with the Sparring Student? Probably can. Spread some damage out here a little bit.
You and what army?
Like he's gonna, the Sparring Student's just gonna drop off in value so quickly. I think that's okay. The big thing here will be as to whether or not, you know, we should have just played the Snapvine and then saved the Snapvine for trying to get Shark Charioted units. Okay, here's some thunder.
look sharp.
Shurima lives!
Never submit.
That take us to 3. All right, gonna have to prevent this. And then yeah, like I wish I remember how this interaction worked, as far as the overgrown Snapvine and Shark Chariots. Okay, just in the sense of I think the Shark Chariot comes into play, and then it just dies and comes out of combat. So. I was intending on keeping our Green Glade duo, but I think we just have to play Zed now, and then play the Snapvine next turn. Focus from beyond. Okay, that's gonna be bad. He's gonna be able. That's gonna end the game having the removal spell here. Brutal. Had to have. Oh, he's stunning. He's not actually killing our unit. Oh man, what a mistake. Okay. All right, we can still do stuff now. Right. That's what's gonna happen, right? He's gonna kill our Zed, but then we're just gonna have a ton of Snapvines on our bench. It's a little unfortunate in that we can't play Neverglade Collectors onto this board, but that certainly just bought us a lot.
Know your place.
Okay. All right. So he doesn't have any combat tricks either. So if he wants to hit with his Tarek, he's not going to be able to flip.
Dazzling.
Oh my god, he drew one. Oh my gosh, what a perfect draw. To think you finally gotten out of it and just have him draw perfect. It's brutal.
No more trespassers.
Alright, well done, guy.
There is nowhere left to go.
Oh, that is so frustrating. We just dead. 9? He's going back up to 20, which is whatever, but... okay.
What do you call that technique?
Let's add some units to the board, I guess. And Zed. we can get our 100 Shark Chariots back since Zed's a follower, but I don't think this is going to be enough. This only puts 1 on our bench. That's ultimately not super exciting. Two's probably okay. 1's probably actually okay. Or what happens if we do it this way? Do we get more units on our bench like this, or does it not matter? It doesn't matter. Okay. So close to being back in this and having this be a real game. That's depressing.
Who blesses you?
Okay, he's making choices, that's for sure. So we can at least get out of this if we draw Vengeance still. At least we've got our 1 outer. Or if he doesn't open on us, then we can draw another Greenglade duo and have a bit more time. We getting there? That's not going to do it.
To protect all.
Brutal. Of course. That's the nature of the way this game's going, and so congratulations, guy, you did it. But it is what it is. I mean, you have to assume at that point, you know, you're probably like a 66% favorite to win, right? They're not playing like 50%, you know, good combat tricks in their deck, and he picked up the Tarek, but whatever. You know, there's no reason to be salty. It's not about this, guys, and so nonetheless, I think this was still, you know, a pretty. Come on, thing. I think this was still, you know, a pretty reasonable learning experience. You know, this was, you know, kind of a forced 3-faction trial. I just, it's hard for me to imagine the situations where you ever really want to go into 3 factions. I still, you know, plan on just like dabbling in it a little bit more just to get kind of more of a feel of it. You know, there's certain archetypes to where I could see this being like more okay than others. Like if you're in, you know, like Freylord Noxus Overwhelms, and you want to pick up, you know, some like removal spells or something, then fine. You do have to miss out on some allegiances, but these decks that don't really have like ongoing synergies other than, you know, playing a lot of overwhelms, then I could kind of see it. And so, you know, we weren't exactly in the right factions to make this work. Well, I'm sorry, we weren't in the right Shurima cards to make this work. You know, we really needed to be picking up one of the Azir packs if we wanted to try to dabble in Sand Soldiers. And so it was like we were just kind of playing Shurima cards for the sake of playing them. They were fine. I mean, you know, having removal spells pop up more frequently with this style of deck is okay. If we'd ever been able to kind of pull off this like Zed Bakai Sandspinner, that's one of the more extremely powerful openings that you can have. But, you know, would I rather have, you know, a Shurima pack show up every pack through packs, you know, 7 through 14, or would I rather just have, you know, like Total Recall Karmas and Disciplined Zeds like that showing up? I would just rather have the Ionia cards. And so it's tough for me. Like this was, you know, I kind of like started on this endeavor with that Twitch stream, the most recent video out here, and it was just kind of like, you know, I'd rather just have more Demacia cards showing up. Like the Shurima cards in that trial played out fine, but that was mainly, you know, just us taking additional advantage of like Honored Lords and not really playing towards Misfortune. But, you know, it was okay there, right? Misfortune plays well with vulnerables. So, you know, Ace is up to you. That was okay there. But, and like the trial I didn't show, and then the one that I spoke about, you know, with like never wanting to do that with Fiora, never wanting to do that with Kindred, you know, that's kind of fine. And then so we, you know, end up with this deck here. And it's kind of like, well, what do we really want? What is our big payoff here? And our big payoff is, you know, having sparring students and Greenglade duos. But then if you don't actually have those, then you just have this like weird deck that's not very good, that just has, you know, like a handful of Shark Chariots in it without a lot of activators, and it just doesn't like really feel like it's a strong pairing and a strong choice here. And so we also, you know, ran into tons of problems where you know, the Slayers cards were showing up. That's, you know, how we had it to end up here. It was kind of like the Slayers is the Shadow Isle Shurima pairing. where we got stuck with all of these glimpse beyonds that we didn't want. We got stuck with these spirit leeches, and then we couldn't find situations where we could actually play these, right? We'd have these boards that were like one green glade duo, and no way to really sacrifice. And so we were kind of counting on Elise for the most part to generate a spiderling just so we would have a unit to sacrifice. And so I think we have to like extremely pick and choose these spots to where we want to be going into 3 factions. I just don't. I know we forced it here, but even like from a theorycraft perspective, I'm not like seeing myself ever wanting to do this here, unless it's like maybe adding in like an Emperor's Diaz or adding in that, I don't know, Sandstone Temple, whatever the thing's called that makes 5 cost ephemeral attackers. Then sure, maybe we could pull that off, or maybe if we had more Shark Chariots, we'd be more interested in like an Emperor's Diaz or something, but. I'm just not really seeing it here. And so, to kind of like wrap it up, this is the way I really like this style of deck to look, is to have, this big stack of like 4 and 5 sparring students, 4 and 5 green glade duos, so that you're getting like humongous bonuses if you ever bring back a Shark Chariot, or even if you're not, even if you're just attacking with a Zed and getting an additional +2 stats, like it's huge. And then like a turn 5 attack to where you have a Zed and something else, it's huge. And you get big bonuses out of playing Blighted Caretakers. Like if you're on the evens and you start sparring student, Green Glade Duo, play nothing on 3 and just bank, and then on turn 4 play a 1-drop and kill it off with a Blighted Caretaker. It's huge. You're giving your sparring student is going to be a 5/5. Your Green Glade Duo is going to be a 5/4. You're going to tango with 2 of your opponent's units pretty well, and then you still have that mana banked up for some kind of combat trick or a post-combat Black Spear or something. Like those things are fantastic, and you just don't get like the density of these things going on. When you branch off into this 3rd faction. And so maybe once there's more cards out there, that would be fine. Or maybe I just like to draft engine decks more than other people. Fine, maybe that's a thing, but I'm still not quite there as to thinking that going into a 3rd faction is that correct. It's just I can't quite fathom the cards we're looking for to where we actually aren't building around a champion or building around some kind of theme, to where we still are okay branching out into a 3rd faction. And so maybe I could see some, like if we're drafting Yasuo, then sure, you want to get both the Noxus and the Targon stuns. I could see some things like that, but it seems to be the rarity and not the norm that you're wanting to jump into 3, which is kind of mind blowing to me in the sense that there's no punish for it, right? From a gameplay perspective, there's no punish for it. From a draft perspective, there's a huge punish, and I think that's what I've been kind of like harping on with these go. But nonetheless, I do think I want to try this again. I think I'll give it like another go, another force. And so in trial number 314, you'll probably see us drafting something stone cold and 3 factions. But we'll see what we can do with that. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. Don't know if there's any rewards to click on. They're not. That must mean we're getting close to a new expansion coming out, which it looks like, I don't know, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, less than 2 weeks away. We'll have more cards out here and more rewards for everyone. But, that is going to do it for us today. I hope you all, learned how to pick that 3rd faction a little bit better. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.